There's a challenge in Spanish, and it's how to say something that's really simple for us. There is, and there are. So today we're going to talk about how to say there is, how to differentiate which past tense to use, había or hubo, and also something that a lot of YouTube videos seem to skip, how to use it in the future, which, good luck for us, is super simple. And by the time you're done with this video, you'll be well on your way to mastering this essential topic and using it fluidly in everyday speech. Also, make sure you stick around until the end where I teach you the movie trick. All right, let's do this. Hágale pues. To say there is, all you need is one word. I. Pilas, hay un hombre raro en la esquina. Heads up. There's a weird guy on the corner. Hay un tornado en Oklahoma. There's a tornado in Oklahoma. Hay 500 participantes en la carrera. There are 500 participants in the race. As I'm sure you've noticed, the verb doesn't change depending on the quantity. In English, we have there was, singular, and there were, plural. In Spanish, it's all singular. For example, hay una naranja en la bolsa. There's an orange in the bag. Hay tres naranjas en la nevera. There are 3 oranges in the refrigerator. This one's pretty straightforward. You just use I. And if you hear a native speaker use the plural, an, or the past tense plurals, habían or hubieron, which will happen, it's wrong. It's not slang. It's not common usage. It's just bad. Okay, I'm sure you've got it, but here's a quick quiz just to get your brain used to producing that word in context. Then I'll show you the basic tense many YouTube videos don't mention. There is a dog in the street. Hay un perro en la calle. There are 4 cars in front of me. Hay 4 carros delante de mí. There are a lot of people at the concert. Hay mucha gente en el concierto. I'm going to clear up something for you that's really confusing for many learners. The 4 words we're going to work on today all come from the verb haber. Now, you may know the verb haber in its usage in the past tense auxiliary verb. He comido, I've eaten. Has bailado, you have danced. Ella ha caminado, she has walked. But here's what's interesting, and I want you to know it so you're not confused like I was. If you pull up the verb chart for haber, you will find había, hubo, and HABRÁ. In some verb charts, you might not find I. No I. There is no I. Now, this is quick. Just hang with me a few more seconds. I've got one of my 2 trusty verb books, 501 Spanish Verbs, and what it says is that the word I is not a verb. You might look at it as an impersonal, irregular form of haber. And that's what the Real Academia Española, the official royal institution that oversees the Spanish language, is what they say. You can see they add it in the chart in parentheses with impersonal. That's it. We're done. Just a quick minute of grammar so that it will make sense for the rest of your life. Let's move on to the future tense because it is super easy as well. And it's one word. That means there will be. And you don't have to make any decisions. That word is habrá. Here are some examples. Habrá un error en el informe si no prestas atención. There will be a mistake in the report if you don't pay attention. Habrá una fiesta de cumpleaños en el parque mañana. There will be a birthday party in the park tomorrow. Según los organizadores, mañana habrá 300 personas aquí. According to the organizers, there will be 300 people here tomorrow. Habrá café recién hecho cuando te despiertes. There will be freshly made coffee when you wake up. Slip a little subjunctive in there on you. But now let's let you start internalizing this pattern with a quiz. Try to answer these out loud before I give you the answer. Tomorrow, there will be a strong storm in the city. Mañana habrá una tormenta fuerte en la ciudad. There will be delicious food at the new restaurant. Habrá comida deliciosa en el nuevo restaurante. Will there be dance classes next Monday? Habrá clases de baile el próximo lunes. I think there will be a lot of traffic in the afternoon. Creo que habrá mucho tráfico por la tarde. The present and future are as simple as it gets, and you should be feeling amazing about now. And that's part of the beauty of practicing these patterns. It really locks in the learning. And it's really one of the big innovations you're going to see when we launch our community in February. We're going to help you not only learn, but in a very targeted, methodical, and most importantly, fun way. Help you lock these patterns in so they become automatic. Not to mention, we're going to be creating an amazing community where you can learn this beautiful language in a fun and, most importantly, human way. For now, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel and we will keep you posted. Now for the one that challenges every Spanish learner. There was. Obviously, being able to say there was is a crucial part of any language. We have two words here. Había, which is the imperfect tense, and hubo, which is the preterite tense. Había is used for descriptions, backgrounds, or ongoing states. It's like setting the scene in a movie. For example, there were many trees in the forest. It's also used to describe routines and when things happened several times in the past. There were always a lot of candies in my house when I was a child. Hubo, preterite, is used for events that happened and finished. It's like describing an occurrence. There was an accident, or there was a party. Also, it's generally used for weather, natural disasters. There was a big storm last week. That's your base, all right? But now we get to the good stuff, because we want to think about the guidelines as little as possible. What we're going to do now is start getting these patterns in your head. So let's start with a few examples of había. Había tres perros jugando en el parque. There were three dogs playing in the park. Había mucha nieve en las montañas. Was there a lot of snow in the mountains? Había un gato durmiendo en el sofá ayer. There was a cat sleeping on the sofa yesterday. En ese tiempo no había internet. In those days, there was no internet. Había varios libros sobre la mesa. There were several books on the table. Now, some examples of hubo. Hubo una gran huelga en la ciudad el año pasado. There was a major strike in the city this year again. El mes pasado hubo varias tormentas. Last month, there were several storms. Hubo un corte de luz anoche. There was a power outage last night. Hubo un accidente en la carretera. There was an accident on the road. So I want to break down a more difficult example for you. ¿Hubo algún problema con el pago? Was there any problem with the payment? The catch here is really thinking of a problem as something that happened and not a thing. And we have lots of problems, many problems. In this sentence, hubo suggests you are asking if a problem occurred at a specific time. For example, during the payment process. What about this? Había muchos problemas con los pagos en esa época. There used to be many problems with payments at that time. The imperfect is used here for the ongoing, habitual, or descriptive, those situations in the past when the exact time is not specified. So now I'm going to give you a hack you can use. It's the movie versus the headline hack. If you're setting the scene in a movie, it was a dark night. There were three cars. Use había. If it sounds like a news headline, there was an accident. Use hubo. Now, this won't cover 100% of what you need, but it's a great guide. It's a great start. Now, for me, the best way to learn these is together, side by side. That way you can get a feel for the rhythm and the usage. So in these examples, I've tried to use related words here to highlight the difference. Listo, hágale pues. El jefe estaba enfadado. Había más gente en la fiesta del año anterior. The boss was upset. There were more people at the holiday party the year before. Ayer hubo una fiesta en la oficina. There was a party at the office yesterday. La economía va mal. Había poca gente en la tienda en Black Friday. I have a hard time switching accents from the English. The economy is bad. There were few people at the store on Black Friday. Black Friday. Qué raro. La semana pasada hubo una venta por el Black Friday. How strange. There was a Black Friday sale last week. Había mucha gente vendiendo velas en el parque durante las Navidades. There were a lot of people selling candles in the park during Christmas. Hubo un robo en el parque durante las Navidades. There was a robbery in the park during Christmas. Here's one that's a bit tricky. Let's break it down. Había 35,000 personas en el concierto de Karol G en El Campín. That's the stadium in Bogota. There were 35,000 people at the Karol G concert in El Campín. Hubo 5,000 personas en la calle después del concierto de Karol G. There were 5,000 people in the street after the Karol G concert in El Campín. The hubo is used in the second one because the people in the street are a result, consequence, of this distinct event of the concert ending. But let's do one that's a little bit more challenging. You might hear that hubo is the cause and había is the consequence. But careful, because that's not always true. Look at the difference here. Había mucha gente en las calles porque ayer hubo una huelga de transporte. There were many people in the streets because yesterday there was a transportation strike. Notice, había mucha gente describes an ongoing state, people in the street, while hubo una huelga refers to a specific event, the strike. So yes, it's a consequence, but it also follows the main rules, había for states and scenes, and hubo for events or results. But check this one out. Hubo muchas peleas en la calle porque ayer hubo una huelga de transporte. There were many fights in the street because yesterday there was a transportation strike. This time it's hubo y hubo. Even though the fights are the consequence of the strike, they are events, first and foremost. Both peleas, fights, and huelga, strike, are seen as specific events, so both use hubo. Now remember, pilas, even though there were many fights, you still say hubo, the singular, and never hubieron, the plural. Finally, a quick note. Some of these examples, while legitimate and useful for learning, might not be the most common way to say these things. For example, it would probably be more common to say, hubo muchas peleas en la calle debido a la huelga de transporte de ayer, or por la huelga de transporte de ayer. It would be less common, just like in English, to use there were because there was in the same sentence. That is it. You have just tackled one of the trickiest parts of the Spanish past tense. And if you want to keep these examples handy and work on this some more, I put them all into a PDF guide for this lesson. It includes all the hacks, all the practice sentences, everything we use today. You can grab that link right down there in the description. And remember, this is exactly the kind of human Spanish we focus on in the Forever Spanish community that we're going to be launching in February. It's going to help you move beyond apps and textbooks and start having real conversations. So make sure you're subscribed here so you don't miss the launch. And for now, practice that movie versus headline hack. And if you want to learn some great Spanish verbs in a fun and entertaining format, check out this quiz on Spanish opposite verbs that my Colombian teacher gave me. Let's do this. See you in the next video. Hágale pues.